US Highway 22. Yeah. Alright, this is going to be published by August 6th. Just like US Highway 52 full part, US 222, US 422, and 522 is both coming out August 6th. There's like all of them coming out. All 5 of them. So we're going to start with just US Highway 22. US Highway 22 is from Newark, Town. Oh, okay. Allentown, Pennsylvania. Harrisburg, Lewistown, Hollidaysburg, the famous town Pittsburgh, heads into West Virginia for a little bit. We don't go into Wheeling. We head into Ohio. You get Lancaster. That's a fine choice. Circleville I don't like, because it meets US Highway 23 there. And then US 22 westbound will end in Cincinnati. So we're going to do westbound US Highway 22. On US Highway 9 and 1, you get a mention for US 1 and 9 for Elizabeth. US 22 westbound is signed for Hillside. And US 22 begins in New Jersey. Here's Interstate 287 signed for Morristown. We get a mention for Interstate 78 and 95. And US 22 is signed for Clinton. Clinton, Pennsylvania, or New Jersey. Either way. We get US 202 and US 206 for Flemington, Princeton, Morristown, and Netcom. Now we're on Interstate 78. Now we're losing Interstate 78. It is signed for Pennsylvania, and US 22 is signed for Phillipsburg and Alpha. As we're leaving New Jersey, we're going to enter into Pennsylvania. Now we're about to enter into Allentown. We get Interstate 476 for Scranton and Philadelphia. Now we just joined back with Interstate 78. Now we're losing Interstate 78. We're signed for Lebanon and Fredericksburg. Here's US 322 is signed for Hazleton and Carlisle, so we get a mention for Interstate 81. Why not put Hagerstown, Maryland for Interstate 81? And just put Scranton for Interstate 81 also, not just Hazleton and Carlisle's. Because I don't like this choice. Here's Interstate 83 signed for Hershey and York. And now US Highway 322 is now going to be concurrent with State College. US Highway 22. Interstate 81 South is just a bad choice. This should have been Hagerstown or Roanoke. Or you could not put Hershey. US Highway 321 is signed for Hershey, which is a good choice. 81 should not be Hazleton. This should have been Scranton or Syracuse. Or Binghamton. When we meet US 11 and US 15, they're both signed for Selinsgrove and Williamsport and Camp Hill. And we're just heading into Lewistown. Now we're going to do US Highway 522, signed for Mount Union. Now we're losing US Highway 322, heading to State College. And we're heading into Mount Union with US Highway 22 and 522. Now we're losing US Highway 522. US 22 will just head straight. We get no interchange for Interstate 99 and US 220 when they head into Altoona. We get US Highway 219 for Johnstown, Carrolltown, and Indiana. And now it's time for Blairsville. But I want to see Pittsburgh for US Highway 22. We get US 119 signed for Indiana. And we're going to be concurrent with US Highway 119 as we all head into Pittsburgh with US Highway 22. Now we're losing US Highway 119. US 22 will head into Pittsburgh with US Highway 19. There is no interchange for Interstate 76. We get Interstate 36, so we're now going to join it with Pittsburgh. And we get Interstate 76 signed for Harrisburg in Ohio. And we're signed for Pittsburgh. We just get no mention for US Highway 30. Come on, PennDOT. Now we just joined US Highway 30. We're going to be concurrent with US Highway 30. We get Interstate 279. No mention for Interstate 579. Here's US Highway 19 signed for Banksville Road. I'd rather see a town for US Highway 19. But that video is coming out on August 22nd. Now US Highway 19 join us, so we're going to lose it. Now we're losing US Highway 19. US 22 and US 30 are still together. We get Interstate 79 signed for Washington and Erie. And we're signed for Pittsburgh International Airport. Now we're losing Interstate 376. US 22 and US 30 is signed for Weirton. And now we're going to be losing US Highway 30. It's time for Imperial. US 22 is on its own now. US Highway 22 is now on its own for now on. Now we're just going to get into West Virginia for a little bit. And welcome to Ohio. This is our last town for US Highway 22 heading to Ohio. So no control city. In Cambridge, we get Interstate 77. They are signed for no control city. No control cities for Interstate 77. I would like to see 77 northbound signed for Cleveland, Ohio, and 77 south for Charleston, West Virginia. Not Parkersburg or Marietta. I don't like all of those choices from Marietta and Parkersburg. That's just bad choice. Now we're about to join US Highway 40. And Interstate 70 does not have no control cities. Interstate 70 eastbound should be Wheeling. And then 70 west should have been Columbus. Not just no control cities. Now we're about to lose US Highway 40, so US 22 will head into Lancaster instead of Zanesville. So we're leaving Zanesville, Ohio. Here is US Highway 33, signed for Logan, Ohio, and Columbus. Hey, I know US Highway 33. It is from Richmond, Virginia, all the way into Elkhart, Indiana. I did my own US Highway 33 video. The older version was just really, really bad. The newer version from June is much better and fixed. So we're going into Circleville. That's just a really bad choice. I should have seen like Cincinnati for US Highway 22, not Circleville. So we're now leaving Lancaster. In Circleville, we get US Highway 23 for Chillicothe and Columbus. So US 22 will just head into Cincinnati. Here we are in Washington Courthouse. We're about to join U.S. Highway 62. 62, I will do in May of 2027. That would be on May 15th or May 5th. I don't know. Because I'm about to do Saturday U.S. Highway videos for U.S. Highway 62. Now we're losing U.S. Highway 62. U.S. 62 goes into Columbus also. So U.S. 22 will head into Cincinnati still. Here's U.S. Highway 35. U.S. Highway 35, I've done that video since May. In Wilmington, Ohio, we get U.S. Highway 68. We get Interstate 275. We get a mention for Interstate 71. Interstate 71 is signed for Columbus. And 71 southbound will head into downtown Cincinnati. On that street, you can see U.S. Highway 42, 127, 52, and 27. And U.S. Highway 22 ends on U.S. Highway 27, 42, 52, and 127. So that is it for our U.S. Highway 22 video. And this is going to be published by August 6th. Thank you all for watching, everybody. So for right now, thanks for watching, and peace out!